الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونتوب إليه ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا من يهد الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده وحبيبه ورسوله صلى الله عليه وسلم. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. مدد يا الله جل مدد يا رسول الله مدد يا شهيد. Today I want to raise concerns on an issue that has most likely also been the cause of our immorality, our lacking in success. Let's say that we are lacking in success as Muslims, and the nature is to seek advice. When we have the ability to seek advice from a council or from an elderly who has the experience and the wisdom, and when we can consider that advice and run with that advice as a guidance, when it's within the Sharia and the Sunnah, then we can aim for success and Allah will be pleased with us, inshallah. And therefore, when Allah is pleased with someone, the favors of Allah are upon that person in order to succeed as a ummah, as a collective body. So the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ has also said, he who does not show mercy to our young, the elderly who do not show mercy to our young, and the young who do not show respect to the elderly, are not one of us. Yani he's not from the Prophet ﷺ. And in another narration, or in another hadith, the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ, he also says to take his sunnah, whatever he gives us to take it, to not deny the sunnah, because to deny the sunnah is almost an act, or most likely is an act of disbelief. It's almost kufr to deny the sunnah. You can be weak and not perform the sunnah. That's shortcomings, and Allah is merciful. However, to deny the sunnah, say this is sunnah, I don't need to perform it, and this, then what happens is you've just made a concession, an exception for yourself, to not actually look at the guidance that Allah has sent to humanity as the most perfect human being. You have just made an exception to not take guidance. So young people, whatever we do in the events of life, in those milestones of progress and prosperity, in those choice-making abilities to decide, is this good for me or is this not? We need to seek advice from our elders. Those elders who hold the law of Allah and the Sunnah of Rasulullah close to them, they are also visible. You know how to identify them. We need to ask them the questions. This is what I want to attempt. This is my position. What is your advice? And seek that counsel. Without this example, we are in danger, because they have experience, and that experience equals wisdom to decide this worked, this didn't work. What works, they enhance upon, and they have 60, 70 years of gathering on that. And then their mentality was to seek their elders, and their elders' mentality to seek their elders, all the way up to the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ's wise times, the wisdom in that time, through his Sahaba and the Tabi'in, and onwards. So what happens is, you're not just looking at one individual that's 67 years old. You're looking at a whole concept of an individual that is connected to a whole collective concept of guidance through Allah, and through that chain succession from elderly respect, student, teacher respect. When somebody takes their self, takes their own ego and their own intellectual standard to decide what is good and bad for them without seeking counsel or advice from the referencing of Quran and the referencing of the Sunnah of Rasulullah and the wisdom, then that person is in danger. And when that person hits the brick wall, or finds that the brick wall is on top of them, has fallen upon them, then they need to realize it was their own doing, no one else's. So, there are a lot of young young youth out there today, youngsters who are in such devastating situations, then they're trying to pray, they're trying to go to the masjid, they're trying to uphold that standard of honor within sunnah. However, it's becoming too strong for them and it's causing them heartache and dismay. Why? Because they're not addressing it within the guidance, they're addressing it within ego, they're addressing it in a way that makes them feel good about things. And that's not what we do. We seek advice, we seek lesson, we follow those who have tread the path before us so that we can take advice. Is this good? Where we're going to end up in 10 years if we do this action, and where we're going to end up if we don't. And these are why elderly, we need to respect them. And this is why elderly need to have mercy upon youngers. The youngsters, the elderly need to have mercy. In order to have that mercy, however, we need to establish the rights upon each other. So the rights upon each other and the hadith concerning this topic from Rasulullah SAW is vast. It's so many hadiths regarding this. Why the youth need to respect their elders and why the elders need to have mercy on their youngest, the kindness towards youngsters. And if we don't have this tradition where when we make decisions and we don't get on the table elderly to sit beside us, then we are going to be in destruction. Even if you have the right concept and the right answer, you still have neglected a hadith, which is to show that respect and seek that advice from the elderly. And those rights upon each other are major. Those rights are major. We see elderly today and the youth are looking at them like they're hopeless. They don't know anything. Like, it is the ego actually talking, and it is also a calamity upon us to have this concept of thinking. So the reality is everyone around them has elders. Every youth should seek them, and every youth should ask them questions and give those elders, enable them with the power of advice, enable them with the power of leading you on a path that is already positive, that they have led themselves upon through their teachers and their elders in time before. So inshallah we can prosper in that sense and show respect to our elders, and inshallah our elders can acknowledge that and show the kindness to our youngsters, and that connection and that unity is made. And the youngsters need to respect that not all choices are going to be what they expect, but they shouldn't challenge and they shouldn't disrespect. They shouldn't disrespect their elders, and they should come together on them. And it is unfortunate, but it is a situation and a reality that we need to uphold, inshallah. Jazakallah khair. Assalamu alaikum.